Welcome back to the channel. What is a 1099 worker? Well, a 1099 worker is what I do. I transport medical items to hospitals, pharmacies, etc. A 1099 worker is a self-employed individual or independent contractor who performs work to provide services for a business under the terms of a contract. So in other words, you contract with a company, a corporation, or a limited liability company, and you perform work for that company. Now that company does not take out taxes. You're responsible for your own taxes. We receive the IRS 1099 NEC, non-employee compensation, to report our income instead of the traditional W-2. So we're contractors, meaning they can terminate our employment at any time. When we sign those contracts, it's within the contract that they can terminate us at any time. So it's less secure in that manner. It depends on your field. I'm within the medical sphere for my main contract, so it's a lot more secure. Well, let me recite some stats. Independent contractors are not employees. All right, don't get it confused with a traditional W-2 employee. A W-2 employee, you get benefits, you may get profit sharing, you may get time off. It's going to vary between different employers. Say as of May 2017, the contractors or independent contractors, 1099 workers, represent about 6.9% of the total employment market, making us the largest group among alternative work arrangements, alternative from the W-2 employee. The number of independent workers has seen substantial growth in recent years. In 2023, approximately 36.6 million Americans engage in independent work occasionally, a notable increase from 15.8 million in 2020. So our work is on the rise, man, because you can work immediately. A lot of the times you don't really need training. It depends, on the work. And what I do is I drive. So I basically have to have a lower mileage car, or at least the model year has to be newer, say within the past seven years. Because the way I work, I put a lot of miles on my car. So when I go purchase a new car, I wanted to have the least amount of miles on it. That's my thinking anyway. And I'm an automotive technician by trade, so I can do my own repairs for the main part. And when it comes to getting new tires, I'll take it somewhere. Getting a wheel alignment, I'll take it somewhere. How are we paid? It's probably the big one. How? The pay is based upon how I get paid, based upon the day, meaning the route. So I typically get paid on paper by mileage. Now, if I don't complete the route and so someone else has to come get the route because my car broke down, well, I'm not going to get the full amount. And whatever calculation who I'm contracting with, they'll have to make some calculation because it's actually going to cost the more money having a split between myself and the person. So I get paid upon the route completed. Now I'm responsible for my own taxes, meaning I have to either use TurboTax or some software to do my taxes, and or take it to a tax professional. Now the more money I make, the least responsibility I want for doing my taxes. Since I make under 100,000 right now, there's really no reason for me to pay somebody to do it. I'm deducting mileage. I mean, how can I screw that up? If I were to take it to someone, I would be screwing up the mileage I gave them. If I'm screwing up the mileage for my own self, I'm going to screw up the mileage when I take it to somebody. So I'm not claiming actual expenses. I'm claiming mileage. So if you're claiming mileage, I recommend you do your own taxes. If you're doing total expenses, depends on how much you make, meaning how much you spent on items, gas, etc. The more transactions you have, and this is what I would do, the least responsible I want to be for doing my own taxes. All right, that's my way of thinking. Here's some examples of 1099 workers: freelancers, writers, designers, programmers, consultants, gig economy workers, which that would be like ride share, like Uber, Lyft, delivery couriers, and that's what I am. I'm classified as a delivery courier or a courier. Now, skilled trades like plumbers, electricians, they can be W-2 employees also, and commission-based professionals like real estate agents. So a lot of times you'll find they'll be independent contractors, because that's an attractive business model, because you're not really responsible for the employees as much as you'd be responsible for them if they were W-2s. So having 1099 workers, you're less responsible for them. Now, you can still get sued because they're working under your contract. Let's say your driver, let's say delete somebody. Well, you're working as an independent contractor, but they're still going to look at the company that you're working for. I don't know the exact legal protections of a contractor, but you're operating under the contract for the company. But you, under your Social Security number or under your LLC, whether you're taxed, directly or your company is taxed. I'm taxed directly because I'm a sole proprietor. Even though I have an LLC, the tax passes through to me under my Social Security number. Now, if I get form an LLC or another type of corporation, and I get, say, share a couple of percentage with another person, then I can form my company or corporation, so the company will actually be taxed. When you're by yourself, when you're taxed by yourself, even though you have the protections of an LLC, you're still taxed under your Social Security number if you're just one person. But if you have an additional person, let's say give them 3%, then you can be taxed as a company or a corporation, not under your Social Security number. But you still get the same protections from your company. The tax passes through you instead of the company. Either way, you're still responsible for the tax, because they'll still fine your company or fine you, the IRS. Let's go over some advantages of being a 1099 worker. You get flexibility, tax deduction, and entrepreneurship. Now, the whole point of what I'm doing is to make a lot of money, more than I would normally make. Otherwise, I might as well just be a W-2 employee. Now, there's other benefits, but that's the main benefit, is to make more money than I would normally make being a W-2 employee. So advantages: flexibility. You can set your own schedule and work for multiple clients. This can be true. It depends on how much one contract takes up. Typically, you can only work for one or two, because the amount of time it takes I'm referring to mainly driving positions. So you really can't work for a lot of companies if the time it takes is the whole day for the one contract. So you can one or two. All right. Now, if you can take like a share ride, that's a different way. You can work for an infinite amount. But if you have a set route, you can't work for a bunch of companies. All right. You can only work for one or two because of the length of time it takes to do your route. Now, if the pay is really high and the route is really short, yeah, then, but that's not realistic. I don't think those even exist unless you're transporting some high ticket item like that takes you an hour or two, and then you make $200, $300. Then you can go to another contract. But those they really don't exist. And if you know where they exist, please write in the comment section. But they don't exist, to my knowledge. All right. So you get flexibility depending on your contract. I don't have flexibility during my day based upon my contract. My contract takes me 10 hours to complete, so I don't have time to do that, to do multiple contracts, except be like an Uber and a Lyft. All right, so and I could do one. I would have to do it. It would have to be at the same exact time. Like I mainly work evenings, so it would have to be in the mornings. It would have to be very strict. The schedule would be very tight, and I would eventually burn myself out. All right, which I sort of did. I used to work 6 days a week. I did that for 2.5 years. Not 2.5 years. About 2 years now, or almost like a year and a half. I've been doing 6 days a week. And I finally got to the point where I said, okay, I can't work 6 days a week anymore. I got to go down to 5. All right. So imagine me taking on 2 contracts. All right. So it got to be practical. Yeah, it can be done. Let's say you got a 10-hour contract per day, but your overtime is going to build up. So people have different stress levels. So you can work it out, or I think you get what I'm saying. All right, let's move on. Tax burden. Well, no. Tax deduction. Well, again, tax deduction this isn't really a thing unless you're making a lot of money. The tax deduction thing. Yeah, people saying, "Oh, you can write everything off." Well, you got to make a lot of money to justify the expense. Remember, the deduction is you're still paying tax. You're just deducting tax. It's not free money. You're deducting tax. And so if you made $60,000 total, you owe $60,000 worth of taxes. Whatever tax percentage of $60,000. All right. So you got to start writing stuff off to reduce your tax burden. All right? I just write off my mileage as of now, because every time I do my taxes, it's always you do both calculations. All right, and whatever one you're going to save the most money, you do. So for the total expenses, or is it mileage? Every year it's been mileage. Now, when you start making more money, then that's going to change. Whatever dollar amount it is, where your total expenses exceeds the mileage. This is for 1099 employees where you have to use a car. This is why I'm really basing this around, based upon the work that I do. Tax deduction, that's only really going to come in to play when you start making a lot of money. I'm not going to quote a dollar amount, but when your expenses exceed your mileage, all right, and then you might still want to do the mileage anyway. All right, it would have to greatly exceed, or a certain percentage. I haven't come up with the percentage yet. Maybe 5% more. Because remember, all those items that you're writing off, they're subject to IRS audits. Okay, let's say I'm making $60,000 this year, and I make $500,000 next year, and I do actual expenses. Well, that could be, everything is subject to an audit, but the IRS might want to look at me You know. Now again, if I do dramatically make that much, I'm going to, yeah, more than likely that would be beyond my knowledge. So I would still do, even if I'm subject to an audit, I would still do the total expenses because I made that significant amount of money, and I'm sure I spent at that time, speculating, uh, more. I spent more on items that would exceed my mileage. Entrepreneurship, you can control your work and career growth. You have more control. You don't have direct control. It all depends on your contract. Well, you can lead the contract. I guess that's you can say that, but you have more control. You have more control over your growth. So it's basically you have the power to choose. It doesn't mean when you choose you're going to be successful. It just means you can leave a contract and you can start a new contract if they're available, or you can get your own contracts. All right, that involves doing legwork, and again, all these things take a lot of energy and time. So eventually, you're gonna have to hire employees if you start going out and get your own contracts. All right, let's look at some disadvantages. No job security. Well, that's not exactly. I don't really agree with that. No job security, because then you can really say no job has no job security. If you want to get hyper technical, no job has job. Any job can fire you, and sometimes, like especially like the food delivery and Uber, they can be inconsistent at times. It depends on the market that you're in, meaning the city and state. So that could be a thing. Now, I'm not worried about that because I mainly deliver medical. So long as myself and other drivers, deliver on time, don't, ruin where we deliver to. And then let's say the hospital, pharmacy, warehouse says, we don't want to do business with you anymore with the company that I'm contracted with. Then we lose a route. Then everybody loses out. No job security in that fashion. But then that's what any job, if you work at an auto parts store and people start buying auto parts, how likely is it for people to stop buying auto parts? So how likely is it for, say, pharmacies and hospitals not needing us to make deliveries? Not likely, right? But however, they could just use another delivery company, right? And people could just go to another auto parts store. So what's more likely? More than likely, you're not going to lose your contract. All right. More than likely, people are going to continue to take Uber and Lyft and use food services. Now, I think what I'm doing, because I'm in the medical sector of 1099 work, it's more secure than all of them. I was just fortunate enough to find the right route, the right company that had the right contracts. All right, and it was thanks to a friend actually who introduced me to this world. All right, tax burden, you got to manage your own taxes. So that could be a big thing for some people. Some people just want to just be told what to do and collect a check. I understand that. So, and I don't recommend most people get into this work. This is just for information, educational purposes only. I don't recommend people get into this work. I recommend people either, be a W-2 employee or have their own business. All right. I'm technically, the way I'm operating now is I'm still technically more so an employee. I do consider myself an employee, even though I'm not considered by the IRS as an employee. Well, I'm considered by the IRS as self-employed. All right. Now, who I contract with, I'm not their employee because I don't have workers under me. Okay. My test of whether I am running my own business is if I have employees. I don't have any employees. It's just me. I'm doing all the work. So I am an employee. I'm giving work from another company, and I perform that work. 100% on my own. So I am technically an employee. All right, that's how I look at it. And you don't get any benefits. No benefits. So you got to provide your own health care. There are alternatives. You can go to those clinics, those minute clinics, etc., and just pay cash. So those are disadvantages. Now, overall, what is my opinion? What is my opinion? My opinion is that what I'm currently doing is I'm eventually going to have to evolve past what I'm doing and grow. So this is the conundrum I'm in. If I stay where I'm at now, I can continue the same cycle. I have my Corolla with over 481,000 miles. I'm already at like 56,000 miles on the RAV4. I can continue the same cycle. And in my next car in 4 to 5 years, I can just continue the same cycle because I'm not broke. I'm not suffering. I can continue the same cycle. Why do I want to not continue the same cycle? Because I want to make more money. I want to reduce the pitfalls of this type of work, which are mainly wear and tear on the vehicle, which that's the nature of the job. Like a truck driver's, the nature of the job is that truck is going to eventually engine is going to have to be rebuilt, and going to have to replace the truck. That's the nature of the business. So I'm want to move away from the nature of the business in that respect. Now there are factors on that. Now if my pay increases by 2, 3, 4-fold, but I'll continue it. So psychologically, I'm not seeing the worth in continuing down the same path, receiving the same amount of money. Now I can do that because I'm not suffering. All my bills are paid. I have a little savings, have a little investments. They're small, but I can continue doing this. Now, is it wise for me to continue to do this? I don't think it's wise for me to continue to do this. I have to grow my business. I'm a grow or die. All right, so that's the situation that I'm in right now. Technology. So one way I think I can increase the, say, efficiency and cost is to change the type of car that I use. I've been thinking as of late to go electric. Now, what do you think? Do you think that would be a valuable option for me to go electric? There's obvious pitfalls in going electric. There's some pros. No air filter, no spark plugs, no oil filters, no emission, no inspections. Although my current car is inspected for 7 years because I live in the state of Delaware. No check engine light when it comes to like air fuel ratio issues. You have the equivalent on electric cars, obviously. Some cons. You gotta wait to charge. That's the main thing. Well, hand in hand with waiting to charge the battery and waiting to charge the battery and battery life. Those are the two main reasons why I'm reluctant. Now, if I could monetize a Tesla or lease the Tesla, I have to do some research on the mileage, because if I can lease a Tesla and it's traded in every year, that'd probably be a good idea. However, leasing it, you got to bring it back in a certain condition too, so I might not want to do that. Just brainstorming. So let's say if I switch over to electric and buy a new Tesla every 5 years, I would have to make the right amount of money to justify the purchase. So it's just a thought. I may still stick on the hybrid or gasoline route, but if I can see a definite advantage and benefit where I can increase my efficiency and decrease my maintenance. Oh, some more tires, because the vehicle weighs more. It's going to run through tires more. So, and any of the electronics, I don't think I can repair. I can only repair the mechanical portions, which would the struts, shocks, control arms, things of that nature. But anything electronic, I would have to take it to the dealer or a third party. So there's some cons. So in the comment section, please write your opinion on pros and cons of electric, pros and cons of gasoline, and whether I should switch. Should I go back to being a W-2 employee, which I'm not? What's your opinion? I think this year, I'm gonna make $60,000 because I'm not doing my Virginia runs anymore. So write your opinion in the comment section based upon what I talked about in the video. Until next time.